Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another enlightening episode of Mindset Matters. I'm your host, Mayuresh Srivastava. And today's episode is a bit of a personal experience of mine, which I really thought to share with all my listeners. And definitely the learning from spending 10 days in complete silence and doing nothing but meditation. Yes, you heard me right. And I call it my own modern day tapasya, which literally challenged me and changed me in small, steady, and honest ways. When I first heard about doing a 10-day silent retreat 5 years ago, way back in 2020, I really wanted to go for it. Not because I knew it well, but somehow this whole concept fascinated me a lot. But somehow my work schedules and my personal commitments didn't allow me to go for it. Because you have to be away for 10 days. Somehow this year, as things are really shaping up for Mindset Matters and my trading work is also stabilized, my wife gave me the confidence that she can handle things up in my absence. And now I have a wonderful team to back her up. So after much contemplation, I finally enrolled myself for the course and made it happen. When I was enrolling, I thought to myself, since I meditate often and I like to spend time with myself, these 10 days of silence won't be a challenge for me. But that experience taught me we actually don't know ourselves. The perspective I held about myself was not just shaken in those 10 days, it was completely uprooted. Let me help you understand how it was structured. There was no mobile. Books and notepads were also not allowed, so you can't write or read. No talking as it was a silent retreat. Not even eye contact and hand gestures with fellow participants. That they used to call it noble silence. You hand over your phone and you cut off yourself completely from the world. The schedule was like we used to wake up at 4 a.m. The last meal was at around 5 p.m. in the evening. And we used to go to bed at around 9:30 p.m. And most of the day was set aside for 10 to 11 hours of meditation. Yes, we used to do around 10 to 11 hours of meditation a day, which was spread across multiple sessions. See, the idea was very simple. Remove every external stimulus so you can practice only one thing: observing the self, observing yourself, the real self. Because in today's world, we hardly get the opportunity to actually observe ourselves because there are so many external stimulus around us, right? So that was the main purpose for me also to go there and observe myself at a deeper level. See, the first 2 days were manageable for me somehow. But by day 3, as I went a little deeper, my mind started replaying things. Is the kid okay? Is everything fine at home? With those worries in my mind, I found it difficult to sit in silence. On days 3 and 4, I tried to push it away and focus. But by day 5, the worry was loud. Louder than my purpose of coming to the retreat, coming to the course. Like, what exactly was the purpose of mine? That purpose was defeated on day 5. So what did I do? I went to the teacher and explained. And mind me, this is the only time where you may utter some words, where you have a question to ask to the teacher. So I grabbed that opportunity and asked, "Sir, I can't focus now. I'm really worried about my family and their well-being." He simply smiled and said something which I'll never forget. Your mind doesn't want to change. He explained that when we commit to change, the mind brings up everything it can so that you remain in your current identity, your old fears, anxieties, stories, to pull us back into our comfort zone. It's simply the mind's resistance to change, which was disguised as concern. Though I know all this concept very well, and I know how our mind works, but when it was tested, I became vulnerable. So I pleaded, and after some insistence, the teacher asked an assistant to call and check about my family's well being. When I got the confirmation that everything is fine back at home, I felt relieved. So deep that I could return to my practice. That moment taught me two things. First, when your mind resists something, it can feel like you're absolutely right to resist it. And second, sometimes reassurance is what we need to carry on, not avoidance. This retreat was a kind of tapasya for me. Long hours of sitting, watching thoughts come and go, and learning to sit in pin drop silence, absolute silence. For me, it was a deep work focused more on being rather than doing. And while I was in my silence, my family was doing their own small tapasya, managing life without me. My 2.5-year-old daughter, how she coped without daddy around, is a thought that humbled me deeply. So here are few personal realizations which I thought to share with all my listeners, which I realized in those 10 days. Number 1, live in the present moment. We all know we need to live in the present moment. But how often do we really practice it? When I left home for the tapasya, I left in a hurry. I rushed to the center, and as I reached there, I observed the long queue at the registration desk. So, instead of calling, I just sent a few last messages and handed over my phone. And once I handed over, I realized I didn't talk properly with my daughter and my wife before actually submitting the phone. And now I checked out of the world for 10 days, 10 long days. That regret was real, and I just soaked myself in that regret. It reminded me goals matter. I knew I was rushing for the center. My goals matter to me. But don't miss what's already yours. Enjoy the moments you already have in your life, because presence matters more than plans, right? Second realization for me was others around you are doing their own tapasya. When anxiety about family rose, I realized my worry was also about putting them in a different kind of tapasya. They must be missing me, adjusting their lifestyle, keeping up the routine. That humility softened my heart. I told myself I stopped letting small fights stay unresolved, which used to happen at times and which is common as well. Fight if you must, but go to bed with hugs. So that was the second realization of mine. Third was anxiety breeds more anxiety. I noticed how my worry was fertile ground for my anger, jealousy, and impatience at times. If I water those seeds, they grow as simple as that. So the lesson for me was respond with samta, equanimity, not reactivity. If anger shows up, don't plant it again to show up in the future. Just let it pass. Fourth one for me was I pass my feelings on to my environment. My mood affects the room. I don't keep my discomfort to myself. I spread it. If I carry irritation home, the home changes. So the work for me was carry calmness first. It all depends upon the energy. What kind of energy you are carrying with you. And that energy will be impacting the environment around you. And the fifth one for me was control the controllable. That is you. You can't control everything in outside world. You need to take 100% responsibility for what happens to you. No matter who did it and what exactly happened. You need to be responsible for your responses, your breath, and your focus and attention. One striking realization was about mind-body connection. When I watched my mind closely, when I started observing it very closely, I noticed how bodily sensations were tied to thoughts. A tight chest, a knot in the stomach. And when you start letting it pass, it dissolves automatically. You don't have to do anything else. This reinforces something which I talk often about. Psychosomatic issues are real, and working on the mind supports the body. Meditation didn't just calm me mentally, it relaxed my body in ways which I had not expected. If you're wondering what a practical takeaway from 10 days look like, here are 3 small practices you can try it out today and make it a daily practice. Number 1, 5-minute arrival check. When you sit down for the meditation, take 5 slow breaths and ask, what am I feeling? Name it. That's the first step. Naming deactivates the drama of you attaching yourself with that feeling and giving it an identity. Lot of time what happens, whatever we are feeling, we attach our identity with that feeling. So what do? We become that feeling, right? Feelings are separate and your well-being, your being, your identity is separate. So name it so that you can call that feeling and not attach to your identity. Second, evening gratitude pause. Before bed, list 3 small things that are already present in your life. Not big achievements, small things, simple things. This rewires attention towards sufficiency and not lack. This actually rewires your brain as well. Number 3, mini no phone window. Pick 1 hour a day where the phone is off and you notice yourself only. Start with 15 minutes and build up gradually. Observe how many of your thoughts are actually triggered by your phone. A lot of time what happens? We pick our phone for something but we start doing something else. So a lot of our thoughts on a day-to-day basis are triggered by our phone. And when you keep the phone away for 1 hour, you observe how you are actually, start observing yourself and not the external stimulus. Let me share an honest moment. The nights were the hardest for me. After 9:30 p.m., the silence grows even further and your mind starts filling the room with stories. We all build stories, right? And few days back, I got to know that the world is not made up of atoms. The world is made up of stories. And we all tell stories in some or other form. And that's what I started doing it after 9:30 p.m. in the room alone at night. Sometimes those stories were positive and sometimes I used to talk about what exactly I can do for my business after going back. So those were the kind of stories or the kind of thought process which were there when I was sitting alone in the room. But mostly, let me admit that, but mostly the thoughts for me were negative. Because that's how our mind works. It starts observing what all can go wrong, right? So those minutes at night taught me that attachment is natural, love is real, and absence can be a real teacher of gratitude. And that is what I talked about in the mental subtraction. When you don't have something, you observe the real meaning of it, real presence of it. So start being more observant about the things which are there in your life and feel grateful for it. I won't claim I came back as a new person. Absolutely no. 10 days didn't erase every flaw of mine. But it strengthened my commitment to become a better version of myself day by day and every day. I promised myself, and my family too, to try harder. More compassion, less sharpness, more hugs, fewer harsh words. That's what growth looks like, right? You just need to do small, consistent changes and not some overnight transformation. Most importantly, the retreat reaffirmed why I do Mindset Matters. The path which I walked in those 10 days, where I learned to sit with discomfort in silence, observing the patterns that run us, choosing different responses. It's not just a parallel universe thing. It's the root of your health, relationship, and your performance. Not of someone else, but yours. Because if you observe yourself more, you come up what you can do actually naturally. And then you can further develop those things which you can leverage in your future, right? If we can turn our minds towards ourselves, we can also heal psychosomatic pain, reduce reactive behavior, and choose the life we truly want. So, thank you for letting me share this personal journey of mine. I'm still integrating lessons every single day because those 10 days were not something which I can do immediately. There are so many realizations which happen, and I'm still in the process of absorbing and integrating it in my life. So that's it for today's episode of Mindset Matters. If you found value in this, share it with someone who needs it. Share it on your Instagram stories and WhatsApp status. That would help in growing this podcast and reach to someone who might need this reminder today. And if you're on the journey of building inner strength, know this. You are not alone. You're growing. And every challenge is shaping you into someone unshakable. Until next time, stay strong, stay grounded, and remember, you are built to bend, not break. And as always, keep listening and keep working on yourself because your mindset truly matters. Thank you.